It's time to talk Super 6 NFL Sunday, the free-to-play game where you can win up to $250,000 of Terry Bradshaw's money. All right, let's take a look at both of your results from yesterday. Nick, you picked 3 winners right. You nailed 2 margins of victory. See, you had 2 winners, 1 margin of victory. Nick, your Chiefs in a much closer game than you thought.
Kind of. That Chiefs margin would have been 3 for 3 if they can just hold him out of the end zone at the end. Lamar, of course, escapes and ends up turning an 11-point game into a 5-point game. But that late afternoon, man, the 4 o'clock window, every underdog covered. I think 3 of the underdogs won outright. That's why there's that red on the bottom of the screen that we don't like to see.
Yeah, good week. Good week. Games are hard to pick. I went for the upset in Baltimore. Me and my football research guy, we didn't get kind of in sync this week, but we were nice on the college. Not as good on the pro.
And that Seahawks game was a shocker. What the Saints did going into Seattle, winning the way they did, that was, to me, maybe the biggest shocker of the weekend.
With a non-Drew Brees-like quarterback.
Teddy Bridgewater gets a win. Daniel Jones gets a win.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Download the Fox Sports Super 6 app. Play Super 6 NFL Sunday for free for a chance to win $250,000 of Terry Bradshaw's money. All right, time for some stories to start your morning, sponsored by Gillette Clear Gel. We begin with Daniel Jones' first NFL start, and he lit it up for the Giants, throwing for 336 passing yards, scored 4 total touchdowns. Nick, what'd you make of Jones' first career start?
I mean, you got to give the kid an A+. Listen, he fumbled 2 times again. He's now fumbled 7 times since the preseason. He's got to do better on that. Everything else, he was exceptional. Led an 18-point comeback, something Eli Manning evidently had 43 chances to do in his career, was 0 for 43. He's now 1 for 1. 2 rushing touchdowns, including the game clincher. Football God smiled on him, too, see, with that 34-yard field goal leaking to the right, which could have beat him at the end. Great job by Daniel Jones.
Yeah, they're supposed to lose this game. I like the pass he throws to Ingram. That gets the momentum going for the big comeback. 18-point comeback in the NFL. There's only a handful of players that have been part of something like that. Eli, with the long career he's had, nothing even close to this. Great for Daniel Jones. Great for Pat Shurmur, their head coach, because it seemed like he called a good game. I love the ball that he throws. Their wide receiving core is not over-explosive, and Barkley was out for the most part in the game. Outstanding. Been able, as a young quarterback, been able to pull the trigger and be able to win this game, even though the kicker
helped him out.
The cooker, he shouldn't even be on the NFL team today. I got to cut him today.
They draft him in the 5th round this year.
So don't even come to work.
They keep trying to fix their kicker situation. They can't.
Yesterday?
2 extra points in the game-winning field goal.
On to the reigning MVP. Pat Mahomes probably won't get cut today. He faced a tough test playing the Ravens. However, he was still stellar. Completed 27 passes, 374 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Nick, how good was Mahomes yesterday?
It was like he's been all year. He's been the best player in the league. I mean, it's not hyperbole. He's been absolutely sensational. He's following up his 5,000-yard, 50-touchdown season with the season through 3 weeks where he's on pace for more of each. And he's played, I think, 2 defenses that are going to finish the year in the top 5. In Baltimore and Jacksonville, he's done it in tough conditions, only 1 home game, and this one in a torrential downpour. He's been absolutely sensational.
Patty's been great. The wide receivers filling in for Tyreek Hill, making outstanding plays. They got so much speed on the field. And Andy Reid, man, we got to give Andy Reid credit because he is dialing up plays that guys are wide open. When you fake a screen to a 4-2 guy and then throw a screen pass to Shady McCoy, that's not Patty Mahomes. That's Andy Reid. So the collection of the quarterback in his 2nd year as a full-time starter, the speed of these wide receivers, creativity of Andy Reid, this is nice to see.
All right, let's move on to the Rams and the Browns Sunday Night Football. We jump ahead to Cleveland's final drive, down 7. Ball on the 4, first down. Baker, incomplete to Jarvis Landry. 2nd down, Baker, incomplete to Jarvis Landry. 3rd down, Baker, incomplete. This time to tight end Demetrius Harris. 1 last chance, 4th down. Baker is picked off by John Johnson, and that seals the game. Rams escape with a win. For the Browns, another rough outing for their much-hyped offense as they fall to 1-2. Here's Baker Mayfield after the game.
Don't hit the panic button. I think we realize how close we are, but that's the frustrating part, is we can't have continued mistakes. You know, the same thing over and over again. We have to do our job and have to hit the reset button, look at the film, learn from it. I think we improved in a lot of areas, you know. But when you play a team like that, the little mistakes will get you.
Nick, is Baker right? It's too soon to panic if you're the Browns and you're looking at this offense?
Of course it's too soon to panic, I mean, especially in this regard. They have Baltimore this week. They beat Baltimore. They're in first place in their division. So, yeah, it's way too soon to panic at 1-2 through 3 weeks. But there are a lot of flashing red lights in that building, and those are flashing red lights that are on top of warning signs we had going into the year. Going into the year, they were as talented, nearly as talented as any team in the league on paper. You had 2 major questions and 1 secondary question. The 2 major questions were the experience of the head coach and the ability of the offensive line. Both of those through 3 weeks seemed to be legitimate questions. And the secondary question was, Baker was sensational his rookie year, but if you separate it between good teams, bad teams, he was an A+ guy against bad teams and a C- D+ guy against good teams. How much will that improve his second season? Thus far, it hasn't. And thus far, through 2 weeks against the 2 better defenses they've played, the Titans and the Titans and the Rams, he's struggled mightily. And so there, to me, it'd be one thing if they were 1-2, Chris, because the defense just wasn't showing up, or Odell had a bunch of drops, things that we thought, okay, those aren't real concerns. Those will, if talent will find, the water will find its level in that regard. But it's the fact that it's the things we were worried about going into the year that is a cause for concern. But I don't think anyone should panic at 1-2 when you're facing the division leader who's 2-1 next week.
Yeah, Baker said it. He said, don't panic. I hope he's talking to the fans, because if I'm a player in Cleveland, I'm in an all-out panic because I know what heck can happen. All right? You go to Baltimore and you lose.
Right.
You didn't create that scenario. You said if you win. If you lose there, then what do you do? Because Pittsburgh is done at 0-3. Cincinnati is done at 0-3. And you're going to try to track down the Baltimore Ravens. I only got 6 more home games. I'm already 0-2. That home field advantage that I typically would have playing football in Ohio, that's going to be gone.
And you're in a tough stretch now.
So for me, you sit there and you have another week where you know something, hey, no problem. You go ahead and sit back and be relaxed all week. And next week, after the 4 quarters of Baltimore, you're 1-3. And you're wondering, where did all this talent go? If you're not good up front, which their offensive line hadn't been good, if your team is not disciplined, and Cleveland is not disciplined, they got a lot of guys that either have lost in Cleveland or they've been around the league and haven't won there. That leads to being disjointed and having a lot of penalties and the team not being connected. So for me, when I show up today, if I'm one of the leaders, I'm in an all-out panic. I'm not listening to Baker. I'm not listening to Freddie Kitchens, because I know I probably won't be able to recover at 1-3. If you're a fan, you sit back and relax. But the Cleveland Browns and those 53 guys on that roster, they should be in an all-out panic based on the expectations, and they are really close. Their defense, without 3 of their 4 starters in the secondary, played really, really well. But you can't afford to be able to make up all that time. So, look, we go 1-3. The next month, we have a great month. We go 3-1.
You're 500.
Is that where you want to be? You got that kind of confidence in Freddie Kitchen? No, because let one more game of bad play calling, and then people in Cleveland, that 0-16, that 1-15, it's just right behind them. It wasn't like that was 5, 10 years ago. Right. It's right behind that fan base, and I want to keep that fan base engaged. If I'm a player, I'm letting dudes know this is not going to be a good week. All my little normal stuff that I'm doing is going to be fun. I'm not going to be doing. I'm getting locked in to try to pull off the upset in Baltimore next Sunday.
Let me follow up real quick. Is there someone on the Browns who you think has that cachet, that experience, and that mindset to do that?
Well, they don't have someone that has that type of playoff record that would understand what's going on. I know a guy like Sheldon Richardson. He's a huge help. Baker had said something about Duke Johnson this offseason about his contract, and I know Sheldon Richardson and some others had pulled him to the side and said that's not something that you can do. But you wanted to be able to depend on guys that have been in a playoff race. Baker ain't never been in no playoff race. Most of the staff, most of the coaching staff hadn't been in a playoff race there in Cleveland. So for me, what you don't know, it can hurt you to kill you. and they don't know that their season can be practically over with after the first month. And that's what they face in Baltimore.
So if you're Freddie Kitchens, your to-do list is lengthy today. Play calling and penalties, that offensive line, your quarterback. What's the first thing you're going to sit down and tackle? What do you think has the most holes in it as you get ready for Baltimore?
Well, the offensive line has been the biggest issue all year, and I think that in Baltimore it's not going to be any easier. Baltimore's got an excellent pass rush. They got an excellent full 11-man defense. They did show the ability to move the ball a little bit with the quick passing. Now, you're going to have to be consistently on schedule with that, because when you do, they were at one point, I think Baker started the game 12 of 13 on passes that he got rid of in under 2.5 seconds. Those are typically going to be very short passes. Those are going to be intermediate stuff because guys don't have time to get down the field. You're going to try to do more of that. Nick Chubb has to be more involved, and Freddie Kitchens does need to look in the mirror and say, the hell was I thinking on that 4th and 9? 4th and 9 draw play. There's a reason. Unless he was, I'd feel better if I were the Browns if I was like, man, because there was like a penalty question beforehand. Yeah. If he said I lost track of the downs, then I thought 4th and 9, the draw play was.
He would never recover from that.
From losing track of the downs?
Yes, he would never recover from that.
Fair. Well, so even if that is the case, he shouldn't say it then, evidently. The point I'm making is I would be shocked if there's never been a head coach play caller who, after a question about a penalty being accepted, lost track of the downs. There literally has never been in recorded NFL history a head coach play caller call a draw on 4th and 9. And that's not even to mention at the goal line, which you went over, never running the football despite having all 3 timeouts. Yeah, it's not quite a 3-alarm fire yet in Cleveland, but if they lose on Sunday, it will be.
Yeah, sometimes it ain't the fire, it's the smoke to get you, Nick.
Oh, I like that line.
Coming up, are the Cowboys in the driver's seat with the Eagles struggling mightily? That's next on First.